All right. Good morning, everyone. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this Friday as we close out the work week. Time for Storm Talk. Yeah, we're getting into the Storm Talk mode here. We've been going back and forth on these rain chances right for the weekend. Now we're getting a little bit more high-res data on it, which is what we needed to really kind of get a better idea. Having said that, it is still quite muddy for the outlook. Not in terms of mud on the ground, in terms of confidence. It is just kind of a messy setup because it's just one of those ordeals where we don't have a definitive boundary moving through here, and that makes it tough. It's just kind of wishy-washy, a little bit of a cold front. It's a cold front that is probably one of the laziest cold fronts you can probably imagine. It's just very, very lazy and just kind of just takes its sweet time wandering through. In fact, it may, in general, take 4 to 5 days to work its way through the Ohio Valley. And because of that, rain chances are there on a near daily basis, but they're not overly high because it is so slow. There's only certain times of the day we need to pay attention. Having said all that, as you guys know, wait a minute, you can't even see me. As you guys know, hi, sorry about that. One extra button I was supposed to hit. We're not going to be able to obviously deal with a heavy rain scenario here, but we could at least get some spotty downpours every little bit will certainly help. As always, you guys can comment on Facebook, as Craig did. Thank you. Appreciate that, Craig. Sorry about that. And hello, Sean. Yep, I remembered. And instead of where's Waldo, where's Brian? Thanks, Adam. Guys are rough on me today. I know, you're just teasing. If you guys could see, and one of these days I'm going to do this tour. I keep saying I'm going to do a tour of what this is like around me every day, so you guys get an idea of why I get so random and just kind of ramble all the time on here. But it also is very complex with all these screens ahead of me. And you guys are about half the size of what is on my phone here is what I can see. So you guys are really, really small. So I apologize if I ever say your name wrong or I can't say what you're typing out correctly. So I'm working on that. Part of that's just old age, right? All right, let's get into it. We've got a lot to cover. So let's start with the live view right now into, this is going to be in downtown Louisville from the Waterfront Plaza. You can see, well, look at all the gnats flying around. Very hazy looking sky outside today where we got temperatures trying to heat back up again after being up there at roughly 93 degrees for yesterday. And that put us at day number 57. At 90-degree temperatures this year. We average about 43, so we're way above the mark on that when it comes to the heat for this summer. Because, of course, we kind of knew that, and that's the case, but today I think we're going to add on to that and keep building in the numbers even more with another 90-degree day today and likely even tomorrow, could even Sunday, could Monday. And then everyone's going to ask, I know you will, sorry about that, I've got a lot of messages here. Is this the end? Not of the world, but of the 90s. Yes, I do think it will be. I may have stepped into a bad corner here and I may be in trouble, but I really think it's the end of the 90s after this front moves in for this week. It's about that time. It's actually a little later than normal. So everything's lining up. Okay, so let's talk about this rain chance before we get too much in the long term. Here is the satellite image from space. You can see we got a clear, beautiful blue sky, but we got some high-level clouds dropping in out of Indiana. But there's also rain showing up around the Wabash, just to our north and west. And now this is where things get a little interesting this afternoon, because some of the data this week hinted that this would try to hold on to provide for at least a few showers into southern Indiana and northern Kentucky later on for this afternoon. We accounted for that about a 10 to 20%. I can tell you right now, it is going to be a little higher for Indiana, and that's been the game plan all along, and then lower for Kentucky. But you could get a few isolated showers. More importantly, this has a good chance to give us a batch of mid to high level clouds that will drift over us, and we're going to get some cumulus that will form here today too. So overall, fairly mostly cloudy type setup. So that's the only thing I don't know that will get us all the way up to 93 today or not. A cloud at the airport at 3 in the afternoon makes a big difference, whether you're 90 or 93. So that's splitting hairs at this point. But I think more importantly, this front will at least give us a little bit of shade from the intense sun if we're going to be out at, say, Bourbon and beyond, or in the outdoor events. At least got a little bit of shade trying to roll in here. Not a lot of moisture with this front, but it will at least try to give us a few showers and clouds. The front is going to drape right across, very, I'll use the term lazy, but it's just very diffuse and ragged, kind of just draped across the Ohio River Valley. And it'll hang out in this position through about Sunday morning. So while it's laying there, all it needs is some heating. And if there's any moisture available at all, and the models don't always get this right on moisture levels. In fact, they have been horrible with it all summer long. They've been taking out too much moisture. We've actually, even though we're in the drought, we've actually had more moisture available than what the models have keep indicating. So we end up on those days where we're expected to be mainly dry, then we end up with a few thunderstorms that begin to pop. That's one of the reasons why. So in this scenario, I think it's a similar case. I do think there's a little more moisture available with the front than what the modeling is telling us. So that's why I think there is a chance to get a few downpours that will begin to pop on the radar, not only this afternoon, but later tonight, again on Saturday, and then we'll watch on Sunday. Now, I know it sounds like I'm saying it's going to be a stormy weekend. I don't think it will be that. It likely will not be labeled that. It will be a hot weekend, and most of you will be dry a good chunk. 80% of the time you'll be dry. But it's that other 20% that could have an interruption in your plans outside with a gusty thunderstorm or a downpour rolling through it. And I just want you guys to just be aware for that and be prepared in case that were to be the situation. And then as long as you are prepared for that moment that could happen, you're fine. It's when you're not prepared, that's when everyone panics and you end up with a mess. You get stuck caught in the rain, you end up being drenched, whatever the case may be. But just be aware. Know that where you need to go, if there were to be a downpour, keep it on the wave weather app so you know where the downpours are popping, so you can tell your friends next to you, like, hey, they're popping, we're going to go this way, and get to a sheltered spot before everyone else catches on. Those are the advantages you have with the wave weather app. Get ahead of everyone else on that and get to your dry spot. Okay, anyway, there's the front, sagging to the south, moisture with it. Again, not overly high, but it is high enough. Severe risk on this. Well, because the front is diffuse and very much slowing down, lazy, there's not that force. And we talked about this yesterday. So you only get pulse type strong storms in this scenario where, especially in the heat of the day, one or two could briefly produce a downburst wind that could be on the strong side. And that could trigger an isolated severe thunderstorm warning. We had one or two actually severe thunderstorm warnings yesterday with the system in the Midwest. Possible, but as far as a regional potential of severe weather and severe thunderstorm watches coming out, not kind of mess, it's too isolated for anything like that. So that's at least good. And then it won't cause a huge ruckus, but SBC is monitoring it. And I think it's fair that we put in at least a lower risk where the front is today. And we get into tomorrow, doesn't even have anything listed for us because the front is even weaker tomorrow. Still here, still there. And then we get into Sunday. And this is when it's really a different front because the way our front is draped out, it's here. It becomes a warm front on Sunday, goes north. But as it goes north, this corner of it right here attaches to a new front that is moving in from the plains. And that is the one that will be the game changer, if you will, and allowing us to get cooler weather in and get some rain early next week. So the front that moves in today and tonight is by itself for now, but it will, like a caboose latching on to a train, it will latch on to this next front, and then they both come in together early next week. All right. So the severe risk overall is pretty low, but at least want to mention it in case you are wondering. So let's get into Futurecast hour by hour. This afternoon, it's keeping most activity blowing up there across Indiana and Illinois. We'll see how far south this can go. But here we are later tonight. This is 5 in the morning tomorrow. And with the front in the area, it's got a few thunderstorms. You know what? Several high-res models have this scenario right here. Downpours, lightning and thunder, roughly 4 to 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So don't be surprised if you get an early morning wake-up call tomorrow. There could be some heavy downpours around. Once those fade to the south, the only question I've got for Saturday afternoon is going to be any boundary left over from what happens Saturday morning at 5 a.m. If those showers that form leave behind any silent boundary that goes dormant for a while after sunrise, and then the sun tries to heat that up, that boundary could fire with that much of a heads up in the afternoon, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. That is possible. Well, boy, that's going to be very isolated, almost nearly impossible to draw where that would be until we know where the boundaries are, and we got to wait till 5 a.m. to know that. So just be prepared that there could be a pop-up thunderstorm in the afternoon based on what happens Saturday morning as well. Most of you, again, staying dry. All right, then we get into Sunday. Saturday night and Sunday, still isolated showers and storms, not a lot changes, but notice it gets really noisy here in Missouri. This is where the warm front now is beginning to make that journey and try to jump up to the north as the new front moves in from the west. I'm hoping this will buy us some time, a dry time here for Sunday, but we're at the mercy of the warm front. Is it going to be fast and get out of our hair? If so, it would be mainly hot and dry on Sunday with storms moving in later at night. But if this front is very slow to react and get pushed back to the north, then these thunderstorms, when they roll in out of Missouri, they're going to roll in fairly quick, and they'll use the old boundary as the train track and move right over us to allow for a stormy period on Sunday. That would change the storyline for Sunday, right? You would go from a hot forecast to a period of thunderstorms with localized heavy rain. So Sunday is still a thorn on our side on that one. We don't have enough high-res data on that setup. We have a lot on Saturday, but we don't have a lot for Sunday. But I think the setup is exactly the same. It's a race against the clock on how these fronts will move on whether or not we get some storms in the area. We need the rain, so I'm hoping no one's too upset about that. Once we get into Sunday and Monday, especially late Sunday and Monday, now we're starting to see a little more activity as the fronts have all latched together now like the Transformers. And no, we're not Transformers. Was it GoBots, Voltron, and what's the other one? And I'm going to get picked on. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There we go. That was all after my time, guys. I'm sorry. I was watching Scooby-Doo and Muppet Babies on Saturday mornings. Sorry about that. Anyway, you get the idea. Everything latches together. And then the whole front and system moves through as we head into early next week. All right. To try to display this in a more simple way, the rain chance for later on today into Saturday is higher north, and it is lower across the I-64 corridor, only because the front itself is going to have a little bit more moisture on the northern side of the front than the southern part of it will. So that's how your storm chance will lay out. These are all low-end chances, but in general, more north you are, the better potential will be. Now, we get into Sunday. That front is still around the area and actually a little further south before it jets north again. And this is why we're in a little more of that danger zone, especially Sunday daytime, because if the front is lagging too much here and doesn't move, then we're going to see that higher zone may even shift a little more south. We'll see. But Sunday, boy, Sunday's going to be a pain on figuring out the chances on that. Okay, before I get into the longer term, type 41.3. 41.3 if you're good on everything so far. Would you say, Renee? I like the Smurfs, Mighty Mouse, and Looney Tunes. I love Looney Tunes. Yeah, some Transformers did. You're right. That's why I was thinking Transformers right away. There was only some that were able to do that. I think it was like one season. That was like a big ordeal. Let's see. Adam, would you say, I hope the rain mixes the garden. No measurable rain since August 31st. I feel your pain on that. It's we just need something to make it a pretty fall, right? We just don't. I mean, the fire danger is there. There's not much we can do about that. It's dry season anyway. There's no way we're going to get, unless we get a fading tropical system, which I'm about to talk about, there's no way we're going to be able to get the amount of rainfall we need to get out of the drought for the fall season here. But the only way, a way you can do that is a fading tropical system. And that is possible. Okay, everyone looks good. I see a lot of 40. 1.3s. All right, very good. So let's get into next week. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because I have to, I got to get going here. But here's the overall setup. This is our, to keep it in the same storyline, this is our Voltron that has formed with all the fronts as we head into Monday morning. Now, it wants to head east quickly. It wants to. Remember, though, we still have the tropical low that gave the Carolinas, North Carolina, the 20 inches of rain. Well, this is it. Still out there in the Atlantic. At the same time, we have a tropical wave that is trying to develop just off the bottom of the image here, likely become a named system, which, by the way, the next name on the list is Helene. We'll see what happens. But there's starting to get a little more activity here. It's a blocking pattern, but we're starting to get some bigger features showing up in the eastern part of the country. So how does this all mesh together? Well, let's take it one day at a time. Here we are on Monday. The front moves through here day and night, occasional showers and storms. It may not be a widespread rain, unfortunately, but it's the best shot I see, so we'll take it. The low, and look how there's the blue under this. That indicates cool weather, by the way, aloft. So you can tell this has got a lot of cloud cover with it, cool weather. Certainly no 90s under this bad boy. So that will cut the heat, and I think this is what will really end the heat for us for the year. Meanwhile, we're watching what's happening with the whatever this tropical low wants to do, and then we're monitoring still the tropics here as well. But we also have more energy that you're about to see come in behind the banner as well that we'll talk about here. So that's Tuesday. Here we go with Wednesday. Now, if you looked at that and you're like, wait a minute, that looks weird. Yeah, you're right. The low that comes through here Monday and Tuesday, it retrogrades back into Niagara Falls and then comes back into the UP of Michigan and parks there. Well, that's going to keep us in a cool flow for sure. Cloudy and cool and showery. And remember, the reason why it did that is that the Atlantic is closed. It can't go east. So that's a problem because the other systems that are back here in the Pacific that are trying to roll in, well, they have the green lights. All right, they're fine. So they're going to keep on rolling in. So now we're going to end up with a traffic jam where we've got a low pressure in the Ohio Valley. You've got energy coming in from the Rockies. You've got maybe Helene forming in the Gulf of Mexico. And now things get a little wild, all right, toward the end of next week here because something's going to give. Something's got to merge or move or something at this point. And this is where the models, and every model has something different on this. It certainly reminds me of winter. You get into the very end of next weekend, and at this point, what it wants to do is it wants to take our low that's in the area and actually pull in the tropical moisture from Helene, if Helene has formed, down in the Yucatan, because Helene may be stuck, may not be able to move it all where it is. Our low pressure in our area may actually try to pull in, like cotton candy, its tropical moisture off of it and pull it all the way into the Ohio Valley and East Coast. Wouldn't that be a wild way to get beneficial rain in the area, is to steal it from the Yucatan Peninsula without actually having a tropical system get here? It can happen if the channels are right and the flow is right. It can happen, but that is very much an anomaly. Rare to see that happen, but it is showing up not on just one model. So it is certainly possible that this could be the play as we head into the longer term there. All right, so let me show you the 10-day, and then we'll get to some of your questions. So how we're going to trend it, obviously hot. We'll keep rain chances around relatively low, and then we'll get through the front as we head into early next week. And then we're just going to keep it generally cool and cloudy. And will those rain chances and extended go up? Probably. They probably will. But we just got to figure out, are we dealing with the upper low? Are we dealing with the upper low and Helene moisture coming in? Do we have nothing? Are we still blocked and it's still quiet for maybe a day or two beyond with the 10-day is showing? That is all possible. So low confidence in the long term continues. Okay. Whew. Does that all make sense? You guys are really quiet, so I feel like either I put you all to sleep or it all makes sense, which would be great. October activities, Carla, on Monday and for sales. Well, Monday midday. That's going to be tough. I think overall your potential to get more of shower or thunderstorm activity is going to be a little higher in the afternoon hours. on your Monday. The only thing I want to caution you on, Carla, there is some data I did look at that was trying to bring in some overnight storms Sunday night and early Monday morning. If those are slower than expected, then those could be a factor in influencing the midday period. Otherwise, it could be Monday afternoon. But stay close, Carla. We'll be watching it there for you guys off to the east. Chris, how are the Gulf temps running compared to average? They're still running way above. Francine did take it down. I don't have the numbers here right in front of me. Let me see if I can get that map here. Hold on. Hold on, Chris. I'll try to help you out. It may take me a second because I'm pretty slow. Remember Francine came through there in the Western Gulf just a couple days ago. So because of that, that did take down. Let's see. These are not anomalies. These are not anomalies, but it's the only thing I have right now, Chris. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared to show you that. But this is the only thing I can show right now, and that is just the general water temps, which 80 degrees is what you basically need to get a tropical system to form. You get into the mid 80s, you got problems. You get into the upper 80s, and around 90, you've got big problems. And you could tell where Francine was. They were knocked down because these were closer to 90. They're down into mid to upper 80s. Look at that. Ooh. And that's close to where this system wants to form, by the way, where you got a couple spots into the 90s south of Cuba there. There's no doubt there's enough warm water here that something can get sustained. The problem with this next system is that it may not have the freedom to go anywhere. And that's where things get much more complex on that idea. It may get stuck there into the Yucatan. We'll see if that's the case or not. But very good question. So thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Let's see. Any snow in October? Not yet. I promise you I am looking. You're welcome, Carla. Okay. One more. What you're asking about October. So let me go ahead and just say that I still think we're going. I know Angela. Where's Angela? I didn't see Angela yet. I know someone's going to ask, am I still thinking an early frost this year? Yes, I am. I still think it's going to be an early frost. When? I don't know yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be in the second week of October. Stands out to me. Looks like the Gulf Stream is warmer this year. Explains the systems. Bigger fish and friends have been catching there. Yeah, it's very warm all the way off the coast of Nantucket. And that is a bit of a concern for for some of the winter outlook data too. But I can't tell you all about that yet because you're going to have to wait until Halloween for the winter forecast to come out from the Wave Weather team. Aren't you excited? All right, guys. I'll see you soon.